to be chairing the session. I'm going to be running the software. And two of the panel members, I'd like to introduce you to Joseph. Introduce you to Phil. Looking good, guys. In addition to presenting his presentation to you people, he's also going to have to speak loudly and clearly enough so that Phil and Joseph can hear him through the iPhone, and I can hear him over here where I'm making notes on software that I haven't used before, and supposedly we're going to turn. So it's all going to work beautifully, I'm sure, because technology is just wonderful and it never goes wrong. So with that sort of introduction, why don't you go ahead and present your presentation?
Hello everybody, I'm Asghar Ahmadi, a PhD student at IPP.
Asghar, you're talking to those phones and they're not going to be able to hear you.
Okay, maybe I can put this here.
Make sure they can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time. Also, a special thanks to review panel and my supervisors, Chris, Lee, and Michael, for their great supervision and help. Today, I'm going to present for my confirmation of candidature. The title of my COC is The Use of Machine Learning Methods for Coding Motivational Behavior in Physical Education. Here, is a quick overview of my presentation. First, I will have a literature review of I will present a literature review of motivation theories and motivational behavior assessment tools, following by the studies that I carry out during my PhD. Which the first study is systematic review, the second one Delphi study, and the third one the machine learning study. Here I want to emphasize the teacher's motivational behavior. It's been well documented that physical activity has significant effects on physical, psychological, and social health. However, physical activity participation amount in adolescents is lower than the recommended guidelines. Besides, PE classes can play a crucial role in increasing the rate of physical activity and other PE outcomes. Also, a rich history of research has consistently linked PE teachers' motivational behavior with student motivation and amount of physical activity and other student outcomes. Some motivation theories have been proposed to explain the motivational process in the educational context. In the following, I want to present a brief introduction of the theories that have been particularly relevant to physical education. The first one, self-determination theory, is a meta-theory of motivation and consists from 6 mini-theories. During the last 2 decades, self-determination theory has been widely applied in the PE context, and it focuses on the social, environmental, and individual factors that promote motivation and psychological adjustments. The second one is the transformational leadership theory. Based on transformational leadership theory, teachers could display 4 types of behavior to motivate their teachers to grow. The first one is intellectual stimulation, deals with in which teachers challenge their current assumptions and encourage their independent thoughts. In individualized consideration, teachers consider individuals' needs in coaching and empowering, and in idealized influence, teachers can act as ideal role model and set the expectations. And finally, in inspirational motivation, teachers inspire students to achieve their goals. The third motivation theory is achievement goal theory. Based on achievement goal theory, an individual could define his or her competence according to a task or ego-involved goal. An individual who is task-involved defines the success as mastering his skills, and an individual who is ego-involved defines the success as outperforming peers and others. Based on achievement goal theory, two other factors affect these goal states, namely which are goal orientations and goal climate. The first theory is implicit theories of ability. Based on this theory, the students might have two different beliefs about their ability. Some may believe that their ability is fixed and difficult to change, which represents empty belief or fixed mindset, and some may believe that ability can be developed through time and effort, which represents incremental belief or growth mindset. These motivation theories provided theoretical frameworks to understand the motivational process in the context, and widely have been applied in the context. However, previous studies mainly relied on the traditional methods of motivational behavior assessment, such as self-report and observation. Even though these methods have yielded many important findings, but they face with critical shortcomings, such as observer bias and inability to scale up to the larger data sets. So alternative approaches are needed to help the coding task, and the automated coding methods might be good and innovative methods that can help to overcome these shortcomings. The traditional methods of behavior assessment include self-report method and observation method. Also, new methods that can be applied in motivational behavior assessment are dictionary method, supervised machine learning, and unsupervised machine learning. Machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence, and it's been developed based on the idea that machine can learn from the input data and could make decisions with minimal human intervention. Even self-report methods are easy and fast and can be easily repeated, but study findings showed significant differences between teacher or student reports of climate with observer ratings. These differences might occur because of key moments or general perception bias rather than specific perceptions, and also social desirability might occur, in which students tend to show themselves more socially desirable. Live observation can solve the interpretation bias and key moments bias, and within this method the behavior can be analyzed in individual or whole level. But however, it's prone to Hawthorne effect, in which the students might change their behavior because of the awareness of being observed, and it needs intensive training of observers. Videotape methods make the replication of rating tasks possible, and because of the high ecological validity, the behavior can be rated based on duration, frequency, and intensity. However, observer bias might occur, and also this method is very expensive, and lower interdata reliability is reported in many studies. Okay. Dictionary method. Pennebaker and Tussack provided fundamental evidence that use of some specific words could predict many concepts such as emotions and anxiety. Also, other works show that word use predicts family adjustment and conflicts, depression, physical health, and personality. So, linguistic inquiry and word count software is a program for text mining purposes, and it includes some predefined dictionaries and categories. So, it uses dictionary and word categories to search them in the text corpora, and then puts the present words in appropriate categories. As an example of word dictionary, word category here, word dictionary includes employ, busy, need, and the LIWC program easily could extract these words in the text. Dictionary method is time, money, and resource efficient, and also the behavior can be analyzed in individual level. And once the dictionary has been developed, it can be applied to a huge amount of data without any extra cost. As an example of dictionary used in self-determination theory, Oliver and colleagues applied the dictionary to capture controlling and autonomous aspects of self-talk, and you can see a real example of their dictionary here. Some words such as option, choice, could are related to autonomous aspects, and words such as obliged, have to, and must are related to controlling aspect. Supervised and unsupervised machine learning are other methods that can be applied in motivational behavior assessment. In supervised machine learning, first part of data are manually coded, then this data is used to train the algorithms of supervised learning models, and then this model uses the characteristics of the coded data to classify the remaining data. In unsupervised learning, the algorithm uses the data set which is unlabeled and uncoded to identify the characteristics, and then it uses these characteristics to find the similar concepts in the remaining data. So it doesn't need human supervision and training. It's worth noting that as it assesses more data, as unsupervised machine learning model assesses more data, its ability to make decision on that particular data improves and becomes refined. As an example of machine learning applications of machine learning methods in educational context, we can refer to visible classroom project, in which teachers could record their voice and upload to the application. After data processing, some feedback and information such as talk time, talk speed, and vocabulary and syntax sophistication are provided. Also, some experts might provide some feedback about the teaching aspects, teaching qualities. Okay, the research outline of my PhD includes 3 studies, a systematic review, and a delphi study, and a machine learning study. In systematic review, our purpose is to identify the automated coding methods that have been applied to analyze interpersonal interactions in the helping profession. And the questions are: what automated coding methods have been applied to analyze interactions? How accurate are these automated coding methods? And to what extent have studies adhered to best practice guidelines in machine learning? We will use a number of databases to search, and the search groups include participants, measurement, automated coding method, and type of behavior. and Confidence Outline systematic review software will be used as a management system. The studies will be included if the participants are helping professions and if the study applied an automated coding system for analyzing interpersonal interactions using verbal aspects of interactions. Papers written in any language, any year of publication, and location of study will be included. What I've done so far, first, I've extracted the potential keywords from the related papers. Initial search resulted 36,000 records. More papers were identified from reference list, and search terms then were defined. And the most recent search yielded 16,000 results. In study 2, our purpose is to create a dictionary of PE teachers' motivational language, and the research aims are to develop a dictionary of motivational PE teachers, physical education teachers' motivational language, and then to compare the dictionary's performance versus manual coding. The study could be a Delphi study, and the LIWC, linguistic inquiry and word count software will be used, and also categories will be chosen from basic psychological needs theory. So this is two groups of two categories: autonomy supportive and autonomy thwarting. So the words are decide and choose are related to autonomy supportive, and should and must are related to autonomy thwarting category. The strategy for collecting the motivational keywords are pre-existing categories from the previous dictionaries, and also questionnaires assessing motivation. I teach data and related text or books to motivation theories. Also, I will use the word stemming method to increase the dictionary's ability to extract the most number of related words in the text. The validation of the dictionary would be through three processes. First, case validity, that in which I will ask a group of experts to determine if the collected words are related to which conceptually related category, and then that dictionary will be compared with the other similar dictionaries to see if it has better performance than others or not, and then and finally will be compared with manual coding. In studies 3, our purpose is to compare the performance of automated coding method versus human coding of motivational qualities of physical education lessons, and the aims are to test the applicability of machine learning methods in motivational behavior assessment, and to compare the results of automated coding method versus human coding or manual coding. In relationship to the recent discussions with Professor Marsh, I decided to add the comparison of automated coding method with self-report method, and also to compare the validity of the automated coding method. We'll compare automated coding method versus manual coding performance. The performance of automated coding with manual coding in predicting basic psychological needs satisfaction and engagement in physical education. I teach phase 1 data will be used as data source. 111 videos are available from PE and maths classes of high schools in Sydney, and 75 videos of PE classes will be used. These videos will be manually coded, and then an automated coding method will be applied based on the results of the systematic review. As an example of automated coding method, discrete sentence feature is an example of automated coding method. Maybe the most important feature of this model is to capture the linguistic features of the sentences rather than solely counting the words. Kenana and colleagues examine its performance with recursive neural network model in predicting motivational interview skill codes, and the results showed that DSF have higher agreement than RNN with human. Here is a schema of this model. So this model uses word triplets to predict the features, and it assigns binary integrators like ones and zeros based on the presence of the aspects. So for example here, the model divides the sentence into word triplets like you did a good job, and then it checks to see if the aspect exists there or not. For example here, it couldn't find any aspect related to praise or criticism, but here it determines that this did a good is related to praise, and here as well. And the overall result, and in the overall, it decides that this sentence is related to this category rather than criticism. The k-fold cross-validation model will be used for validation of model. In this method, first part of data is divided into subgroups. Here it's divided to 4 groups. Then part of data is used to train the model. Here 3/4 of the data, each group is used to train the model, and the remaining 1/4 is used to evaluation. So this is repeated 4 times, each time with new data set to evaluation. Also a number of standard metrics will be calculated to assess the automated coding method performance and to compare its performance with human coding, such as accuracy, precision, F-score, and coherence coefficient. In summary, during my PhD, I will conduct a systematic review of automated coding methods that have been applied to analyze the interpersonal interactions in the helping profession, followed by a Delphi study to create a dictionary of motivational language of PE teachers, and then a machine learning study, a machine learning approach to predict the motivational aspects drawn from the aforementioned 2 studies. That's all.
Questions? I have one. You're starting off with videos, and then you're going from the videos to the transcription. How much, I would think you lose a lot of valuable information by not having all the visual. And I know that you can't necessarily code the visual, but tell me a little bit more about the translation from the visual videos to the text.
Okay. So I believe that most of the teachers' message delivered through the verbal behavior rather than visualizations or body posture or positions. So that's.
So you're just good. So all you're doing is transcribing the actual verbal behavior.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're ignoring the information that might be available from the
visual?
Okay, because also the methods to analyze the visual aspects of the behavior is completely different than the methods to analyze the verbal behavior. So that's why we chose only to analyze the verbal behavior. In the future works, it might be a good idea to analyze the visual behaviors as well.
Okay. And you also talked about you would compare the two in terms of accuracy, but to compare them in terms of accuracy, you have to have a standard. How do you know? You can obviously compare how similar they are and what the differences are, but how do you know what's accurate?
So just we'll compare the reliability of two methods. And we will compare both methods' validity in terms of predicting the psychological needs and engagement in the classes. So that's the thing, yeah.
Okay. I understand that you've got your textual coding that is going to predict outcome measures, and I understand that's a test of validity. But you also talked about accuracy. Is accuracy just talking about prediction in relation to external?
Yeah. Accuracy will be compared with manual coding. So because we propose that manual coding is a gold standard of behavior assessment in motivational behavior.
Okay.
So yeah, we will compare with manual.
Okay, so you're going to compare the automatic coding to and treat the manual as accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Other questions?
Yeah, to follow on Herb's question about accuracy, you have different. You mentioned here that there are different methods of manual coding, right? And there are many different methods of
Manual coding.
Yeah, automatic coding as well.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about accuracy, based on what? Which method of manual coding is the standard you're referring to?
Okay, so we will code the videos. I mean, human observers will code the videos like videotape observation method. So we will code the videos manually. So that's our purpose of manual coding.
Now, my second question is about study one. In study one, you mentioned you're doing a systematic review of all available languages, right?
Automated coding methods.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the health, yeah. That have
All
been
the studies about automatic coding
methods that have been applied to analyze interpersonal interactions.
But it's published. All these are published in different languages. So which language are you focusing on? Do you test focus on English?
So at IPPE, I think we have lots of people who can speak some languages. So many main languages. We have people that understand those languages, and also we will decide with the we will check the abstracts and the title, which almost all of the journals provide English title and abstract of the papers.
So the answer, Alex, is that we're going to include all languages, and Asghar is being very brave here. I think it may be a first for IPB to attempt a systematic review.
Absolutely, amazing. Because I was thinking, well, the jump to my mind was Korean. How do you understand Korean?
We have John Marshall.
And
We've actually been through this, and we think we can cover about 12 different languages. So we're not 100% sure about Japanese. So if anybody speaks Japanese, let us know. Well, these are the fallback options, yeah. But we're actually reasonably confident we can cover most languages. But it is great. Yeah. Yeah.
No, are there other questions?
Asghar, you know, I have a good machine learning approach. I think this is really interesting. It was a good presentation. One of the things I keep wondering about is, in a lot of the examples that you give for criticism, you use words like should or must. And I'm wondering if that sort of requires the algorithm to understand the context. Because in both maths and PE, teachers are teaching rules and they're teaching constructs which are fixed, right? So to say to a student, A plus B must equal C is not a controlled behavior. It's a teaching and action concept. So I'm wondering, so I'm wondering, how do you think? And I only really see that being a problem for criticism. I think for praise it's probably fine. You don't want to not praise numbers or constructs. So I'm wondering, do you think your model will be resilient to that sort of context problem, or are you looking for that?
Thank you for a good question. So that's why I chose to only include the physical education classes. So in physical education classes are more practical, and maybe the language of teachers are very different than the math teachers, because math is theoretical class, and as you mentioned, such words might intervene the performance of the coding method. So we will use only the PE classes.
Following from everybody else's tone, right?
Sorry.
You did that really fast. You did that really fast. First one's praise, the second one's complete criticism. Is there a way to?
So that's only an example. So we will have many categories and also some concepts. So that was only a scheme of the discrete sentence, discrete features model.
Yeah.
So
is there something that can actually pick up tone?
No.
Because, like I said, I can say the exact same thing in two different ways and have two different meanings.
That's also a good question. But I think
Sorry, PE teachers can be really mean, and they will say, let's be honest, and they will say stuff like, "Wow, you were so fast," to the last kid that's coming in.
That's good, but how many percent do you think that during a next session they use this?
Wow, you were really fast. To the first one and to the last one.
But I mean, you can transcribe and indicate stress and emphasis, can't you? Which can be quite meaningful.
It's a little bit difficult.
Right.
But, the acoustic features of the language also is different than this method that we are applying. So they have other algorithms, they have completely different methods. So maybe those are good ideas to work on the future goals. But I think during my PhD, it's better to focus only on the verbal aspects of the behavior, like only the language, not linguistic features.
So this is sort of what I was getting at when I was saying that what's gets lost from the translation from the video. Those nuances would be possible to see, and the visual text. Do you already have all the verbal scripts for these videos? Are you going to actually go back through the videos and transcribe them, or has that already been done as part of the broader project?
Fortunately, it's part of the ITeach project, and now we are dealing with this to perform. So I will use those transcripts from the ITeach project.
Okay. Other questions, anybody? Other comments? Okay, well in that case, we'll go ahead and the panel members we'll go ahead and meet, and in 10 or 15 minutes, or however long it takes, we'll ask her back and give you more feedback. Thank you very much.